This is World Business Report from the BBC World Service. I'm Marie Keyworth, and it's great to have you with us. In the programme today, we'll be hearing what's in store for China as the country's political elite thrashes out their latest economic 5-year plan. You can send us your views, get in touch by email. It's world.business@bbc.co.uk. They say it's good to plan ahead, and the Chinese government is a real fan of it. Since the 1950s, China has shaped the economic direction of the country through a series of 5-year plans, and the latest one is being formulated right now. The elite Central Committee of China's ruling Communist Party is meeting behind closed doors, and over 4 days will hammer out the economic blueprint for the world's second biggest economy. President Xi Jinping said the country is at a historical crossroads.
We
must uphold the underlying principle of pursuing progress while ensuring stability, remain committed to the new development philosophy, and endeavour to build a new development pattern.
The meeting, or plenum as it's known, is happening in interesting times. There's a global economic slowdown due to coronavirus, China's trade war with the US, Washington cutting off China's access to US technology, and international scrutiny over political repression in Hong Kong. It's thought that all these factors have increased the desire among the Chinese leadership for more economic self-sufficiency. Traditionally, the nearly 400 party officials at the plenum are confined to the venue for the duration to prevent leaks. But we can at least talk now about what's expected to emerge. For that, I spoke to Andy Ji, an independent economist based in Shanghai.
In the last 5 years, the priority has been shifting from economic development to strengthening the party's longevity, the control over the society and longevity. I think that trend is likely to be reflected in setting the future economic agenda, in particular in the context of the US-China rivalry and the perception that this is long-lasting. So I think that the agenda will be very much about decreasing the vulnerabilities to the regime in the context of this rivalry with the United States.
So what does that mean in practice? Are we talking about China becoming more self-sufficient economically and not at the mercy of what the US leadership decides to do economically?
Well, a part of the Great Wall mentality is coming back. A lot of leaders have been talking about self-sufficiency, which was the political thing under Chairman Mao from 1949 until 1978 when Deng Xiaoping changed that to opening up. Now the pendulum is swinging back somewhat to self-sufficiency argument, especially in the context of this technology war. The US is selectively punishing Chinese companies and blocking them from accessing the global supply chain. So the Chinese companies cannot depend on global supplies to develop their technologies in the future. And considering that the technology is a driving force for the economy, especially since the labor force is contracting, you need productivity. So I think that that's really is going to be a big focus.
So aside from technology, President Xi Jinping is very keen on something that he calls dual circulation, where they're depending on a sort of domestic cycle of things being made in China and consumed in China and not necessarily relying on exporting across the world.
It's a desire. This desire has been around for a long, long time. Dual circulation is just another way of saying rebalancing the economy and promoting consumption. But unfortunately, to achieve that, you have to cut investment because China's issue is investment that takes too much of the economy. And the investment is driven by the government. So somehow the income distribution leans towards the government to make the investment happen. So it's really in the political context. If the political priority is investment, then by definition, you cannot have a balanced economy. The future is still about export.
Do you think that the last 4 years of Donald Trump's presidency have had an impact on what's going to come out of this 5-year plan? Do you think that actually it's made the Chinese authorities or Chinese executive have to really reconsider what its goals are going to be?
Yeah, I think that Trump has just started this thing. Trump had these knee-jerk reactions about China. He felt like China was like maybe surpassing the United States. So he was worried. And also he thought it was not fair. But basically what he started is that we cannot go back. even if Joe Biden wins, it's unlikely we're going to have reset back to before Trump. I think there's a widespread consensus, both in China and the United States. A rivalry is here to stay.
Do you think it is inevitable that China is going to overtake the US economically within a matter of years?
China has the ability to keep the economy up because the financial system can support all the production. So China is a production-based economy. As long as the global demand is there, so the economy will be there. But in terms of growth, the government has been de-emphasized growth for a while. The growth in the context of labor force contracting and a really weak global economy. So I see that out of this plenum, there will be a talking point about why growth is not so important anymore. So I think maybe China should be happy with 2 to 3%, like a developed economy.
Andy Xi. And you're listening to the BBC World Service, the world's radio station.